What the heck is up, you guys? It's your boy Ace, aka Animated Heroes, here back with another action figure review. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Good Smile Company Figma Chainsaw Man Aki Hayakawa. Now this is one personally I've been waiting on SH Figure Arts to get to, but for whatever reason they skipped over it. But Good Smile decided to go ahead and jump on it, and I couldn't be happier. Now, I've heard some good and some bad about this figure, and of course, we're going to take all the time we need to dissect it, starting off with the sexy packaging. Now, since I haven't kept any of my Figma Chainsaw Man figures, I figured I might as well do box comparisons with some of the JJK line. As you can see, the boxes are pretty much identical. It's that same slender packaging that we've been getting with all of the recent Figma figures that I'm really enjoying. I love that they've slimmed it down drastically. Now, anyway, as you can see, the box is actually similar to Yuta, who I just reviewed. Go check that out. It is a bit of a lighter, more saturated sky blue type of color. The background is a bit pink. We've got images of the figure all along the side. At the bottom it says product number 606, which is funny because Yuta is 607. Anyway, it does say Aki Hayakawa at the bottom. You got the Studio Mappa logo. It says Figma. Here's the window where you can see the figure as well as some of the other accessories. At the top we got an image, bottom got an image. Along the side we've got him smoking. On this side we kind of got him in an attack pose. This looks very goofy. I'm not really a fan of this at all. Hopefully you can pose him up a little bit better than that. Anyway, on the back, you got more poses you can get the figure into, some of the accessories, and then a bunch of stuff I can't read because I imported it. Now, anyway, let's bust this figure out of the packaging because I'm still a little excited to talk about it, just not very excited because of what I've heard, but we'll see if it's good or bad. Now, straight out of the packaging, the first thing I want to say about this figure is that it is interesting. What I mean by that is it sort of feels like a Figma, but at the same time, it sort of feels like an SH Figure Arts. It's like the two of them came together and worked together on this figure. And it's just because, again, certain parts don't feel like they align with what Figma would normally do with their releases. Now, of course, this could be them trying to switch it up, do something new, maybe integrate new parts, accelerate the articulation. Who knows what it is, but it's just a lot about this figure feels off, being that it's a Figma. Now, whether that's good or bad, we'll get into that a little bit later. But first, let's go ahead and take a closer look at him so we can examine some of the details. Now, first things first, we have the head sculpt. When it comes to Figma, 99.99999% of the time, they're going to get the head sculpt, the facial details, and everything 1,000,000% accurate. This looks exactly like Aki from the anime. That's something you just absolutely cannot take away from them. This looks good. The hair looks good. The facial printing looks good. He has the earrings on. He has the little twig for his hair. It looks great. I can't complain about that. Now, as you can see, he does have a little peg in the back. That's because the sword does peg onto his shoulder here, and they're just trying to keep that hole from warping due to weathering. So good, smart job on their part. And when it comes to the suit, if you look at the chest, it is all one piece. We've seen them do this before with the Nanami figure, and it wasn't good. And I'm not really expecting it to be good with this figure either. So they need to just drop that. If they got to do it in 3 separate pieces, they got to do it in 3 separate pieces. Again, this is another expensive figure. There should be no shortcuts here. Moving on to the shoulders. They look okay. There is still a bit of gapping in here, and it's almost like a Batman figure gapping at the cowl, because as you can see, there's 3 separate sections here. You've got the upper part of the suit, you've got where the biceps are, not the biceps, the shoulder joints are, and then you've got the forearm right here. I'm not feeling that. I do wish you could kind of push this piece up to tuck it in, but no matter how you do it, it's still going to be, I don't know what this is right here on the shoulder. It's still going to just be 3 separate pieces that are gapping, so I don't like that. I don't know, man. I just feel like they could have done that better. Arms and the rest of the body are particularly fine. Again, they just are a little different. These thigh swivels right here look like SH Figure Arts. These knees definitely look like SH Figure Arts. Also a bit of Hasbro in there. So yeah, not bad, but it's different. It's not what I was expecting with this guy, and that is not a complaint at all. But anyway, down to the shoes. I think the shoes, the Chuck Taylors, look amazing. I have a scratch on the right one. I don't know how that happened. It's some paint bleeding. It's blue on the shoelace. Come on, Figma. We can't be doing that. We cannot be doing that. Expensive figure. But I'm not going to bash this figure too much. It does look really, really good. It's just certain parts of it that are a little bit off, or they could have been done a little bit better. But overall, I do like the look of this guy. He looks great aesthetically. He's pleasing to look at. Proportions are all right. I just wish that they had done some things a little bit different. Now, this figure is surprisingly tall. To the top of his little twig, he's actually about 6.5 inches. To the top of his head, he's about 6.25. And I do know the chainsaw figures have been a little bit taller, if I remember correctly. Power was surprisingly taller than the SH Figure Arts. And of course, I didn't keep my Denji very long, so I can't really say on that one. But yeah, of course, we'll do some size comparisons a little bit later, but I'm only going to be able to compare him to the SH Figure Arts, as those are the only ones I currently have in my collection. Articulation wise, he looks up quite a bit, but of course you're going to get that gapping in the neck because of the hinge. I really wish they would start utilizing double ball pegs, but it doesn't seem like that's ever going to happen. Figma is just known for these hinge joints. So yeah, but they do work very well when it comes to looking down. Sometimes they work well moving out to the side. In this case, as you can see, we don't have any problems here. When it comes to the arms, they go up and out about that much. So despite them looking ugly, the articulation is super effective, and that's something that makes me happy. When it comes to bringing them in, they do come inward very well. You can get him in those sword swinging poses. You do get this weird gapping piece right here that kind of comes out. That is a little awkward, but it's not too bad. Again, they do have these holes in the shoulders, the same thing that the Yuta figure had. I don't know what that is. Maybe it's some new design. Either way, it's there. It doesn't really bother me, but I just wanted to point it out. He does have a bicep swivel that is connected into the shoulder. The elbows, oh no. I don't like this separation right here. It's not the worst, but it's not the best, because the elbow pegs in on a ball peg instead of it just being one large hinge joint. So that gapping right there, it's really unavoidable. I think you can kind of push it down to tuck it in, but a regular hinge joint would have been fine. I don't know why they did this. Again, another decision that they made with the Nanami figure that could have been so much better. But yeah, it does help to get a swivel right here, but that's not something that's necessary. Like the bicep swivel will work fine for that. So it's not needed. It's just something they threw in. Anyway, hands are on a hinge for the most part. Articulation is going to be fine there. It is going to be hindered by the sleeve, which makes sense. When it comes to the torso, that's about as much bend as you get, which is not good at all, because you look, the joints are in there. It's 3 separate pieces, or at least 2 behind here, but this is such a hard plastic that it's not going to help with bending forward. And it's crazy to say this, but you want to know who got that right? Todd McFarlane. He did this perfectly, where this right here was a soft piece, but it came all the way around the back, and then it was a double ball peg inside of the figure. And so basically it was just a soft plastic that you had to move it again. It's not a hard plastic and a soft plastic colliding with one another to try to get effective articulation. So I don't know what's up with that. Figma, come on now, we can't be doing this. We failed at this one time. Anyway, down to the legs. He kicks forward enough. He actually kicks forward quite a bit. Doesn't really kick back because they sculpted a butt. He can do the splits about that much. At the thigh swivel, that's going to work just fine. The knees are double jointed. It does have that cap look to it just because of this piece right here, which is fine. That doesn't really bother me. Ankle articulation is not the most effective because of the pants, but it is still there. So I'm not going to complain about that. And then the toe hinge is great. So overall, the articulation isn't bad. Most of it works well. It's just the torso, man. And that's going to suck for when you want to get him in those dynamic poses. A good torso is really the soul of an action figure. Like, you gotta have good torso articulation in order to get in so many poses. And so I don't know, man, it just limits it by a lot. Figma, come on now, can't be doing this. And also something I just noticed, I don't know if this was done intentionally or it's just the joints that they used. You do kind of have a drop down like thigh swivel. You can actually pull these down a little bit or tuck them back up. I would think that that just helps with movement. It's not something that is absolutely necessary because the range doesn't change. That was a rhyme. But yeah, it is still there. Now, when it comes to the accessories, this figure doesn't really come with much at all. First off, he comes with a neutral head sculpt and a pair of fist hands right out of the packaging. He comes with a head for when he has one eye closed. This is for whenever he's summoning Kon. And then he comes with kind of a yelling, attacking face. And that's pretty much what you get. That's normal with Figma to include 3 expressions. Now, he does come with his sword, which this looks really dang good. But what looks even better is the sword in the sheath. This, I think, looks very, very nice. I love what they did with this. The sculpt work, the detail, the painting on this, all very, very clean. This is probably, in my opinion, the best part about this figure. Now, he does come with several sets of hands, but first I'll show the singular one. He comes with one where he's smoking a cigarette, which he's known to do. But what's weird about this is, I don't know if it's picking up on camera, but the finger that is holding the cigarette looks like it pegs into the hand, and it doesn't. I don't know, maybe they molded it without this finger and then they glued it on, but I don't know. It looks like the finger can articulate, and I've tried to do it, but it doesn't work. I don't know. It's weird. It's very, very weird. I don't know why they did that or why it looks like that. Maybe it's just mine, but I highly doubt it. This seems to be a manufacturing thing. But yeah, it's not horrible. It's just strange. Anyway, he does come with some more sets. He comes with a pair of relaxed hands, a pair of sword holding hands, and then he does come with his hand for summoning Kon. So that's pretty much all you get with this guy. He could have utilized some more accessories, but to be honest, I don't know what they could have thrown in. So I'm just going to say I'm happy with this. Moving on to size comparisons, here he is standing next to some of the SH Figure Arts. We have him standing next to the SH Figure Arts Denji figure, the SH Figure Arts Power, and then the SH Figure Arts Chainsaw Man. And as you can see, I think he fits in scale well enough with these guys. So if you want to use this as a substitute until SH Figure Arts actually releases Aki, it wouldn't be a bad idea. Next up, here he is standing next to some Figma Jujutsu Kaisen figures. We have him standing next to the Figma Yuta Okotsu, which I just reviewed. Again, go check that out. We have him standing next to the Figma Satoru Gojo, which is probably still my favorite Figma to this date. And then we also have him standing next to the Figma Yuji Itadori. All of these are solid figures, except for Aki. He's okay. And then lastly, for some Spider-Man, here he is standing next to a Marvel Legends Amazing Fantasy Spider-Man, a Metacom toy or Mafex comic book Spider-Man, and then a Sentinel Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse Spider-Man Noir. Almost forgot about this one, but here he is standing next to the SH Figure Arts Samurai Sword as well. I don't know why, this is just a figure that I completely forget I even have in my collection. Now, when it comes to my final thoughts on this figure, I'll be honest with you guys. It's not Figma's best figure, but it's not their worst. It has some good qualities, but there's also some things that are just extremely off-putting. For instance, the shoulders. I don't know why they can't come up with a good shoulder design for suited characters. They've done it before. Why not just perfect something that you've already done? Also, this quote-unquote torso articulation that we're supposed to get behind this soft plastic. If they're not going to incorporate the articulation, what's the point in making it 3 separate pieces by giving us a soft plastic overcoat, then the articulation being in the back part of the figure? Why even integrate that if it's not going to be able to be used? Because that's just increasing the cost of the figure for absolutely no reason. So it is a horrible design choice. The legs look okay. The knees just really throw me off. Like, they don't look bad. I mean, they definitely look better than the traditional knees. But honestly, I wish they would have done what SH Figure Arts did with the samurai sword guy and kind of tucked him in where it doesn't look like he's wearing football knee pads. Like, it's just... that's not the worst part. I'm not going to say that's bad. It's new for Figma, so we're going to go with it. But it's just some of the choices with this guy, like the elbow being a hinge and then a ball peg. It's like they use that on the worst figures. Now, granted, you can push it down and hide it, but it's not necessary. Like, why do we have that? I don't know. I don't want to just sit here and break this figure apart. Again, it's Aki. It looks good for the most part. He poses okay. The arms and legs can do just about whatever you want to. The head articulation is decent. It's just that the torso is pretty much useless. And I don't know why, again, they use this design. It's just questionable choices. And that's usually what it is with Figma. The figures, for the most part, sometimes they're just horrible, but for the most part, it's just like, why did you do that? Like, that wasn't necessary. I don't know, but it's up to you guys if you like this figure. Honestly, if I was to rate it, I'll give it like a 5 out of 10. I'll leave it at that. This, for me, is going to be a stand-in. Honestly, I need SH Figure Arts to go ahead and announce their Aki figure, like, expeditiously. I'm glad they announced Makima, but I need them to announce Aki, and then after that, I need some of the other characters. I definitely need Kobeni, and I definitely need Himeno. And honestly, I'll take those from Figma as long as they get them right. Suited characters, I'm at the point I just don't want to buy them. They failed with Nanami, they failed with this guy, and I don't buy any of the in-between Figma characters to know if they do okay with other suited characters. But at this point, I'm beating a dead horse. Overall, I hope that you guys enjoyed this review. If so, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. That always helps me out. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit that bell icon to be notified whenever I upload new content. And last but not least, follow me on everything you see listed in the description below to keep up with my activity outside of YouTube. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Stay safe wherever you are, and bye.